Yes, thank you for sharing that. So there's a question in some way, how can both of these things be true? But what is being pointed toward here is that this ego, this personality, this is nothing. The sages say it's non-existent. It's a figment of the imagination. This is the reason that we pursue the inquiry. When we begin, we are asking, who am I? This I is the I of the personality, the I of the self-sense related to the body and the mind. But as we pursue the inquiry, we penetrate through this me sense, this separate I-ness. This I is nothing. And when we penetrate through it, we see this vast spaciousness in which awareness is still here. But the personality I has dissolved. And in this moment, there is this recognition. All of this is myself. Everything which is being seen, tasted, touched, felt, the awareness itself. And we've come back to this unified space or this unified field. And in this moment, there is this recognition. I am everything. But this is not the I of the personality. It's not the I of the ego. This is the I, which is the ground of being for everything. Without this I, this absolute, you can say, this supreme, without this, nothing else is knowable. So this is what he's speaking about here. And as far as you are concerned, just recognize that as you continue to go more and more deeply into the source, into the heart of being, this is the process of burning up or of wearing down this personality, moving into this recognition, I am nothing. But there is a moment after this narrowing down and focusing in, where is the source of being? Who am I? After focusing in this way, after concentrating in this way, there's a moment where the whole world becomes oneself. So if you're not there yet, of course you are already there, but if the mind is telling you that you are not there yet, then just keep going. Keep going gently, persistently with this inquiry. Who is this I that still seems to be here, causing me to feel separate from the world itself? Who is this I that feels this sense of separation. And as you keep going, walk step by step, moment by moment, in the here and now, with the faith of all the saints and sages who have said, I am nothing and I am everything. And between these two, I walk. This is where you are walking. So have faith in this path.
Thank you. Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
This inquiry feels effortless here in Satsang, but sometimes when there's not the support, it feels very effortful. And yeah, it feels like it doesn't carry that much fruit, although if there is also persistence, something becomes very clear. Yeah, this isn't a question, I guess.
Yes, but you point to some very important recognitions to have, and that is that this is the value of satsang. This is the value of coming together with others that are like-minded and are interested in the same things that you are interested in terms of self-discovery. And there is a strength in that you feel when you say this is easier here. This is because we come together in this great moment of being, of heart, of love, of self-love, of love for the satsang, of love for the teaching. This is enough to open our heart, isn't it? And so this is the value of satsang. The value of being in the world and having things come and go and losing the sense of one's self is to begin to recognize that that's a false notion in the mind. You are always the self. Nothing you do or say or think, no matter how wonderfully you behave or how poorly you behave, none of that disturbs the self that you are. Now, it may be true that your experience is that the self is sometimes more obvious to you. It is clearer. You are simply the being, the natural being of your own self in that moment. And at another moment, it's not quite so obvious. This is obvious to the mind. So understand that in the teaching, it's spoken of very clearly that this is the ability or the capability of the mind to veil the self for its own purposes. But just because the mind has this ability to veil the self for a moment or an hour or a day or a week does not mean that the self is affected by that. This is just a quality of mind. Over time, as you practice, as you continue to return, whether you are returning moment by moment or you are using the satsang as a place to come back to your own clarity, whether it's just a memory for you at certain times, it doesn't matter. The self is always there. Once you have seen this about yourself, even for that long, this can't be forgotten. It can certainly be veiled by circumstances, by situations you find yourself in, by thought patterns, by the circumstances of your daily life. It can be covered over. It can be veiled. Circumstances can be difficult. Circumstances can be challenging. Just accept that this is a quality of mind. And if you see this quality of mind is still operational in you, continue to inquire. Who is it that feels there is some impact from the situation, from the environment, from the relationships, from the job? Who is this I that feels as though something is either clear or unclear, gained or lost? Keep the inquiry going in all of this so that you can use the circumstances in which you find yourself to move toward this deeper understanding. I am the self. And it can be just as simple as that, is to realize in a moment, in the middle of some difficulty, some mental difficulty, emotional difficulty, difficulty in the world, to realize and to meet that moment with the recognition, that which I am is here now. I am the self. So that nothing that goes on in the environment, nothing that goes on in the mind, nothing that goes on in the experience itself, in the waking state, permanently distracts you away from the recognition that that which you are is always here and is the foundation on which all of this is rising. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandinam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritawa Swaha Bhuva Bhu Om Sat Jung Hang Om